What's up, everyone? We had a very exciting day in the stock market today, and everything's starting to heat back up again. In today's video, we're going to go over all the important information you need to know. Tesla actually had an investor day today, so that brought some extra volatility into their stocks, so we're definitely going to take a look at that. We also have a couple stocks like Salesforce that is booming in after hours after news of a $20 billion share buyback program. And towards the end of today's video, we have two I guess you could say, yeah, we have multiple millions of dollars in unusual options activity today. So make sure to stick with us all the way to the end. This video will be one of the most important videos of the week. But with that being said, Tom, let's get right into it.
Yeah, Mike, overall, it was a very crazy day. We had a bunch of earnings yesterday, like Rivian, which fell down, FSLR, which actually ended up shooting to the upside by quite a bit today, up 15%. So, we have a bunch of crazy earnings going on. And talking about earnings, we even have more tomorrow, like Costco, AI, ChargePoint, MRVL, Nordstrom, Best Buy before open, Kroger. I know we were talking about that one on the stream a lot this morning. So, overall, just a lot of big earnings plays this week. And, some of these stocks are doing very well, like Salesforce tonight. I know you mentioned them, Mike, them having a $20 billion share buyback. That is awesome. And look at this stock. They closed around $167 to $168. They ran all the way up to $192 up here at the top. And man, that is awesome. A $20 billion share buyback. And their non-GAAP adjusted earnings came in at a positive $1.68 versus a expectation of $1.36 per share, and that revenue beat as well. So really good earnings from Salesforce, and man, it's awesome to see some of these stocks swinging up like Salesforce and FSLR have.
Absolutely. So yeah, those two were definitely powerhouses today. Looking back at Salesforce or ticker symbol CRM, with that $20 billion share buyback program, that's pretty big. The total market cap of Salesforce is around $167 billion. So it's definitely a substantial buyback. And I'm sure a lot of Salesforce shareholders are pretty happy in after hours right now.
Yeah, and that's a big jump up there. And, I actually did see some pretty crazy stuff, though. Like, whenever I go look at, like, the Thinkorswim news, they actually had a bit of, like, a loss when you look at the GAAP numbers, but the non-GAAP numbers actually came in positive. So, I don't know, Mike, did they do some magical accounting or what there? I know that, those GAAP numbers are totally different sometimes, and in this case, very different. But, hey, it's awesome to see them moving up like this. And a lot of these other numbers are great, too. Like, their regular revenues up 18% year over year, and their fourth quarter revenues up 14%. So just awesome to see there. And looking at just the overall market here, Mike, I will say, like, I'm kind of hoping that this good momentum from some of these stocks and after hours can start to push us back up tomorrow. The SPY got very low today, bounced off the 393.50 support, and then guess what it did? It got very choppy again, just kind of stayed within the same range that we've been in for the past couple weeks. We didn't really get a good breakout. We broke the low of we broke the low from Friday last week, but it actually didn't get enough momentum to really push us down. And Tesla has their investor day going on right now. So I think this might actually dictate our direction for tomorrow.
Tell us more about Elon's master plan today, because I know there was so much hype going into this investor day, and so far Tesla stock isn't moving too much. But guys, keep in mind, Tesla is one of the craziest stocks in the entire market, so this thing can turn on a dime.
Yeah, it really can. It's already kind of been a pretty volatile here in after hours. But yeah, like you said, he has the master plan part 3 that he's coming out with today. I was listening to the beginning of this. We were all really waiting for him to start. They ended up being a little bit late. And whenever he started talking, I will say he wasn't very hyped up this time, like he has been in the past in some of his other investor days and some of his openings of factories and stuff like that. But he was pretty much unveiling like pretty much all the stuff that we are capable of to sustain ourselves with energy independence for the future, and specifically stuff with solar, stuff with electric cars and stuff like that, in order to obviously not have to use fossil fuels and deplete the earth of its natural resources. and he calls it his master plan part 3, where he's going to be doing a whole bunch of different things, creating solar roofs, obviously upgrading the car segment. They're going to be talking about expanding batteries and stuff like that. Battery developments are going to be huge over the next 5 to 10 years as they start to try to obviously try to create more solar and obviously more energy independence in the overall economy of the world. And he talked a lot about numbers in that sense. Now, obviously, the event's still going on, so this can still obviously change. And he's going to probably get into a lot of other stuff with his cars and stuff like that. But so far, the main thing he's talked about is energy independence. And it's actually been a pretty cool topic, in my opinion, Mike. This could even be good for other companies like FSLR and just pretty much any other company that deals with energy like that. And, talking about FSLR, they were already up a lot today.
Exactly. So for those of you who don't know, FSLR is actually a solar company. So that is how it would, benefit if Elon has some positive things to say for that industry. But looking at Tesla stock, which is what everyone cares about, what's Tesla going to do in the short term? And I think the big answer to that question is it depends on the reaction to this event. And hear me out here. So a couple years ago, we had a ton of hype with Tesla's battery day, and it ended up being a big flop. There was like a lot of hype going into the event, but the event just wasn't that exciting, right? And the same thing kind of applies here, but the event's not over. So going into tomorrow and throughout the rest of the week and over the next week or so, you have to look at Tesla and just play that momentum. Right now it's pretty choppy. If we see a big break below that $200 support, there's opportunity all day long to play Tesla to the downside. At the same time, let's say we see Tesla rocket to the upside with a lot of momentum, a lot of volume, and some good news and some optimistic outlooks. There's a good chance Tesla can run to the upside, but it's hard to call these without the hype or without the news actually out yet. So you just have to look at Tesla in a close way over the next couple days, judge the momentum, judge the news, and follow the money.
Yeah, and it's going to be huge tomorrow morning because in after hours tonight, as this event drags on and as time goes by, we're going to get closer and closer to after hours, obviously closing. So it's going to be huge to see where we end up in the morning. I honestly, if you're a big shareholder of Tesla, you might want to wake up pretty early because it's probably going to have some pretty big swings very early on. So I'm pretty worried about it, though, I will say, Mike. Looking at the event, like I said, Elon actually didn't seem too hyped up so far. I saw he was obviously talking a lot about the environment, but he wasn't as hyped as he's been in the past. And so far, I didn't see anything overly interesting. It kind of, I'm not going to lie, it was a little bit boring over the first 20 minutes of this. It kind of almost put me to sleep watching it. So I hope that doesn't hurt the stock. But so far in after hours, it's definitely not doing the best. It's starting to actually fall back down a little bit more now. And it hasn't really gotten up into the green at all. It just kind of stayed right around that high that it was at around close.
Gotcha. So while we're on the topic of, Tesla and electric vehicle companies, I have to talk about one of Tesla's competitors, Rivian, that just got absolutely bodied today. So it was pretty bad. Basically, they tanked down in a major way on weak sales and a weak outlook. They're down around 18% on the day, and they're so close to their all-time low. Ticker symbol RIVN. It was just straight panic selling all day long, and I don't know, Tom, it's looking tough for this one.
Yeah, it really is, and we saw some unusual options activity come in recently on February 17th, just about a couple weeks ago, at the $22.50 strike calls. And it was interesting because Rivian had that resistance here around 22. I'm starting to think, Mike, the big money might have been shorting this, or they're going to be losing a lot right now if they didn't get out yet. But either way, that's a bad drop, and Rivian's retesting that low. I would not be surprised if they ended up going down even more. I mean, that is a bad report. I could not believe the momentum down in after hours yesterday, but then it continued today at open. I mean, man, just look at some of these moves to the downside. Some of these are terrible.
Yeah, it's nasty. So keep it on your radar for tomorrow. Honestly, it's kind of oversold now, so you do have to be careful if you're going to play it because, it's down 18% in a day. With that being said, I wouldn't be surprised if we end up getting like a little bit closer to that all-time low right around $15.28. But, even at that point, you have to ask yourself, it's like, if the stock right now is at $15.80, is it worth trying to, squeak out, that little potential margin for the stock falling more compared to the risk of a, premature bounce back up? So I don't know, like it has a lot of momentum right now, but I'm not sure it's the best play.
Yeah, I'm not either. I'd almost rather try to maybe follow some of these earnings to the upside, maybe kind of like CRM today, maybe get a nice continuation play on that, or maybe even FSLR, which a lot of people were talking about today. That might be a nice one. This one had a lot of momentum. Maybe trade it up to $200. Again, though, some of these are just so overextended, even to the upside, that it makes it a little bit difficult. And I think that's one of the harder things with earnings is, having to like trust some of those continuations, even after these big moves like this. Sometimes it's hard, but that's why you have to feel out the momentum. And obviously that's why trading takes some skill, Mike. That's the name of the game, right? Trying to find the momentum more than the other person. And, the market's going to shake a lot of people out sometimes in a lot of these cases.
Yep, without a doubt. So, Tom, now I want to talk about some setups for tomorrow. Yesterday, I mentioned Goldman Sachs to the downside, and it continued down in a pretty good way today, but I still think there's more room going forward. So it has a giant support level right around $340 a share. Right now, the stock's right around $346.50 per share. So even though I called it to the downside yesterday, and even though it fell today, I still think there's more room for this stock to fall. That does not mean it has to fall tomorrow, but over the next couple of days, it is looking pretty weak.
It really is. We talked about this one yesterday, like you said, and it had a very nice continuation day today. And I love how we closed down around that low, a nice solid close on the candle too. So I think that there is a lot of possibility for another continuation down. I know you talked about Goldman yesterday, and I actually talked about Intel yesterday, which was awesome. And I'll say Intel ended up bouncing off support in a pretty good way and ended up coming right back to the upside. So it was awesome there. I know you love Intel a lot too, Mike, and it was just awesome to see them get that type of momentum back. And, I'm not saying Intel's going to definitely hold this support, but for right now in the short term, this is looking pretty promising, especially considering all that bad momentum that the market had today. The market was kind of trading lower, but Intel had a very nice move at open, and I just love how it held there at that support. That's great. And that support has been going on forever. Like if we break this support, Intel's going down to levels that they haven't been at since 2013.
Yeah, so like Intel's not necessarily like my favorite stock ever for the long term, but I do like it at its current level for like a shorter term play to like a medium term play. And Tom, you stole my setup today. So like I'm actually looking for this one I'm looking at this one in a bullish way, over the rest of the week and even over the next couple of weeks, because, like you said, like they're down quite a bit. They're at a major support right around $25 a share. And, when you're oversold this much, it just becomes harder and harder to continue to just bleed off. You know what I mean? Because, at some point, shorts just exit and you have longer term buyers coming back in. I know they just cut their dividend, but still, their dividend is decent overall.
Yeah, and sometimes like whenever you cut dividends like that, that's sometimes like what the stock needs, because they might need that cash in the short term to maybe make some plays. I know they're building some huge factories in the United States as well. So Intel has a lot of stuff going on. I actually like it for the long term if you get it at the right price. I like them personally, so I'm just a waiter on them. I'm still not into it yet for shares, but I'm kind of like sitting back and waiting to see how some of these supports end up holding. So I am definitely going to be looking at this one, though, for a longer term play soon. And I know that we've been talking about it quite a bit on the way down here. So it's a pretty big play, Mike. And I know that, with all those investments in the U.S., hopefully it can pay off a little bit. But, my second stock today is actually going to be an energy play on CCJ, Mike, looking at uranium. They had a pretty nice play. Pretty nice move up today. I do think that there's a pretty solid chance that we could come up and retest $28.40 tomorrow, maybe even $29 if we get a good enough move. But I thought CCJ had some good momentum. bouncing off that 2680 support in the short term. And when I go to that daily, it's starting to kind of bounce back up off that recent dip, which I like. So, it's not my favorite play to like buy and hold here with it being up a lot, but I do like it for that retest of like 28.40 to 29.
Alrighty. Well, with that being said, Tom, let's get right into the momentum plays for tomorrow. With the first one, we have GLD to the upside.
Yeah, gold. That was awesome to see that one rise up as much as it did today. If they can break above 171 intraday tomorrow, watch for some calls.
And with the last, or not with the last one, with the second one, we have Square, and that's to the upside.
Yeah, Square, I will say we had that big money play with them yesterday. It didn't have the best start today, but it had a good finish. So if they can end up breaking above 77 tomorrow, watch for some calls. That's a pretty big intraday resistance from the past few days.
All right. And now with the last one, we actually have Apple to the downside.
AAPL, yeah, that was brutal today. Part of the reason why the SPY just, was just so bad looking. But if they can break below 144.50, I'm going to watch for some puts to the downside. This support on Apple is actually pretty big over the past couple months.
All right, so you guys heard Tom. We have that downside level on Apple for a day trade to the downside tomorrow. And then don't forget about Square and GLD for potential day trades to the upside tomorrow, only if they break above that upper level. But today, Tom, we actually have two big money trades. So the first one is $540,000, and this went into CLVT. Basically, it was a CLVT $12.50 strike call options that expire on April 21st of 2023. Looking at this stock, it's towards the bottom end of its range. It's had a lot of fluctuation over the, past couple of years. Right now it's lingering right around $11.50. It had highs of $35 or so back in the middle of 2021 and, lows of around $8 back in December of 2022. The strike price is pretty close to the money. It's a $540,000, which is a lot, but it's, not anything too insane. I think this setup has potential, but it's not necessarily like my favorite.
Yeah, and what I do like though is that they had that big explosion today, which was great. So, it could be a nice continuation play. They had that big explosion with earnings, and if it ends up running up over the next few days, this play will probably end up doing pretty well. So I'm hoping that they can continue up. It looks like they're finally starting to break out of these lows that they've been in for a while. So hopefully this is a nice start of an uptrend here. And, it's always nice to see the big money getting in. It's not the most money we've ever seen, but I do like the strike. I think it's decent, although it is a little bit out of the money. But then again, if we get a move like we did today and we have a nice continuation, I think we could easily hit 1250.
Boom. Yeah, I can definitely see the earnings continuation aspect in it as well. And then this next one is actually a pretty good setup in my opinion. It is $1.8 million, and this play was with MRNS, and it was the 7 strike call options that expire on March 17th of 2023. So we have a short-term expiration here, and this is a pharmaceutical company, and technically this trade actually happened yesterday, but it was pretty notable, so I wanted to make sure it was covered. But anyways, they actually have earnings coming up on March 7th, and these pharmaceutical companies, companies like this are very manipulated, and that's a good thing when you're on the right side of the manipulation. And long story short, we had someone dump $1.8 million into the 7 strike call options today, and when you look at MRNS, it's right at the money. It has a couple weeks worth of time, and I like the risk reward overall. It's a little bit risky given it's a pharmaceutical company, but hey, if they have good news, this thing can boom.
Yeah, definitely can. I love this because it's a short-term expiration. I like that it's in the money here. And, like you said, they could end up seriously having an explosion. We actually saw another pharmaceutical company, RETA, explode up well over 100. Oh my gosh, 198% today with some good news with a drug. So keep MRNS on your radar. Sometimes these pharmaceutical companies can go crazy. It might not be a bad gamble play, to maybe follow this. I'm not going to lie, Mike. Some of these big money plays have been very, very nice to follow lately. I've been following a few of them in the background. They've been doing pretty well.
Yeah, so if you guys want to follow these big money trades every single day before the market closes, make sure to check out that first link in the description and the comments down below. Not only will you get access to big money trades, but you'll also get access to our day trading bots. It did great today. It called out these Rivian 19 strike put options at $228 each, and they popped all the way up to $333 each just within a couple hours after. And there's multiple of these day trades throughout the day. Of course, not every single play wins, but overall the bots do a damn good job, and we're just going to keep making them better and better and better over time. The prices will rise over time, and the software will just get better, and we're going to have more and more features. So if you're into short-term trading, this program is definitely for you. It's that first link in the description and the comments down below. Like I said, day trade alerts as well as big money, multi-million-dollar plays, as well as software you won't find anywhere else. Definitely check it out, and you can cancel at any time, and you can save $41 off your first month with the link in the description and comments down below. But Tom, going into tomorrow, do you have any final thoughts?
Yeah, we talked about a lot of stuff today. Just still keep your eyes on Tesla, guys. I think that's going to be very crucial for tomorrow. So far, I'm not very impressed. They kind of bored me to start the event. Elon's kind of gotten a little bit, I would say, too specific in a lot of cases, kind of probably went over some people's heads. I don't know. Hopefully the event goes better or gets a little bit better as time goes on tonight. But so far, I think that Tesla stock is looking like a theta burner. If you were trying to play calls or puts on this one, so far, it's not looking very, very good for you. So hopefully we keep holding 200, but man, it's going to be a tough one. These events are always a coin flip, and who knows, maybe he'll unveil something special with the Cybertruck as this goes on. But, it's probably going to go on for the next few hours, to be honest.
Yep, and if you guys like the video, make sure to subscribe. When you subscribe, you'll see our videos recommended to you more often. Before we close out, we want to give a giant shout out to today's member of the day, Atomistic Part B, in the YouTube comments. Thank you so much for all of your activity and positive comments. Tom and I really appreciate it. Besides that, thank you guys so much for watching, and definitely make sure to check out that first link in the description and the comments down below, especially if you're into short-term trading. Besides that, let's have an amazing end to the week.